Hey, welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie. And I thought I would show you what I got for my birthday. My birthday just passed, but I'm also gonna update you guys on how my reading is going currently. So of course there's the book theme. I mean, every year it's always, whether it's Christmas or my birthday, it's gonna be a book related theme. Occasionally there's gonna be some, I'll ask for some things that aren't book related, or they're not, or I'll ask for things that are book related but they're not books. Or not, or they're like not originally props for books, like bookmarks. I did get a Books A Million card that I actually ended up using it on my when I went to BAM yesterday. And so I got that. And then I also got, let's see, I'm not going to go in any particular like I do for Christmas where I go in the order of who gave me what. But I got a bunch of these bookmarks for my sister. They're all like iconic images. Like this is an image of some kind of library. I don't know where this library is though. I have to look this up. I mean, there's nothing on here that says, well, I guess I could look up the company JBH Creations and see if what each of these icons are. There's this one and another one. I mean, some of them I recognize. Got a notification for we have a bundt cake place in our town, and I have the app, so now I get notifications on my watch when they have like a sale or something, or like, you know, my birthday or something, or Mother's Day, or you know. But like this one, I don't know what this is. You know, I mean, I know what it is. It's a scuba diver, but I don't know what it's supposed to like. If it's supposed to be like a particular book. Like, I guess it could be like you could see like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, or Under the Seas by Jules Verne, or some other iconic book in the ocean story. Like I said, I'll have to look these up. And like, I know this is a lighthouse. Yeah, so some of these I don't know what they are. There are some that are like, there's you know, Big Ben. I have ones that have a Big Ben on it, and there's the Eiffel Tower. Here's one with stamps on it. You know, it's all like travel related bookmarks. So, and my mom jokingly said that I probably don't need any more bookmarks after this, because this is a lot of bookmarks in one collection, and they're a good size, you know. And this time I'm not going to do like a thread or anything. I mean, they don't have the little hole, and I don't want to punch a hole in these, so I'm not going to do that. Because my bookmarks that were, had like famous paintings on them, like Van Gogh's work or something, there were holes punched in them, and the same thing with the, space ones, I think. And then I also got, one of these was from my parents, and then the other one was from my sister. So I've been reading the Six Tudor Queens, the Alison Weir version, because I know Philippa Gregory also writes about the Tudor Queens. Although I don't know if she's covered all of them. Maybe she has, but... So this is the fourth book. So I just finished... Back in April, I finished Jane Seymour, but my copy of Jane Seymour was a hardback copy, because for some reason the hardback edition of it was cheaper than the paperback. So I got the hardback edition. So at some point I'll buy the paperback edition. Either I'll get off their books or ask for it for someone else. But that is the Jane Seymour story. So this is Anne of Cleves. This is the like I said, the fourth wife, and in this she was, what little I know about is that he was given, Cromwell got a portrait of Anne of Cleves, because I think she was from Germany, and showed it to Henry, and of course, just like photographs, it enhanced her beauty, made her seem more beautiful than she was. or at least to people, to everyone, to, like, as I say, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. And when he meets her, he thinks, oh, she's not really anything special. She's just average, and he ends up, I think they became friends. They just were friends. So she kind of got lucky and didn't have to be stuck with him. And then Catherine Howard is the 5th one. The 6th one is Catherine Parr. And she's the one who probably is the luckiest out of all of them, because she outlived him. I mean, although I don't know. I mean, like, I'm trying to, like, I don't know, because even though she outlived him, she had to deal with the old man, the cranky, fat old man that, with all the wounds and stuff, all the, the injuries from the past that were now, like, all gross looking. But then she survived, so she outlived him. So this is Catherine Howard, the scandalous queen, and I believe it was rumored that she was in an inappropriate relationship before she married him. I think. So there's those. Although, that Showtime series with John Rhys Meyers, I think, is the one who plays King Henry. And of course, he's not bad look. He's nice to look at. He's nice to look at. And he's not, like, he didn't gain weight or anything, I think it goes through, with the exception of, they might not cover Catherine Parr. I don't know. Because I know they at least go up to Catherine Howard. We meet her. Which I'm wondering, is Anna of Cleves in there? I don't know. But, like, I have not finished it. Like, I thought I lost access to it and I would have to pay, but it turns out that I still have it, so I'll probably watch it. I don't know how far it went, but I don't know why, I love when I see books on shelves where it's the colors of ketchup and mustard. Like, one book is this yellow color, and then there's the red color. It looks like, it reminds me of ketchup and mustard. I don't know, I always like seeing that on shelves when, like, it's a series and one spine is red and one spine's yellow and they're right next to each other. Okay, and then we have, this is a gift from my parents. So they got me this t-shirt, which the next day at work, I saw not this exact t-shirt, but the same aesthetic on, it just had a different word on it. So it's the same style shirt. I don't know if it was pink, but, so I think this is one of those where you can get to say whatever you want kind of shirts. But it says bookworm on it. So as you can see, like I said, even if it's not a physical book or even a bookmark, it's going to be book related. Most of my gifts. And then I also got this. My sister also got me this. She knows I've been into tote bags lately and wanted to use tote bags as to carry my books in. I've been getting more into that lately. So this one, and I like how this one is like you can tell it's handmade. I mean, I don't know if it is, but like with the style of the bag and stuff. And it's a little bit bigger. So I'll probably bring this with me when next time we go, somewhere, go visit my grandmother or my sister. I'll probably bring this one, especially because it's a lot bigger, so I can fit more books in there. Well, although I don't know, maybe that's not just a good idea, because I try not to bring too many books with me, because I want to be able to at least focus on one or two books, and not like jump between books. Okay, so there's that, and then one more thing to show you. So these are the gifts from Terry. We have this is an autobiography on Jose Rizal. He was a national hero in the Philippines. And then there is a biography that I have on my wish list as well, that I would like to get, an actual biography. And in case by chance you don't know, autobiography is written by the person who the book is about, and then a regular biography is written by someone else writing a biography of that person. I mean, hopefully you guys know the difference, but and I mean, I'm always surprised how small these books are, how like it's big print and everything, which I mean is fine. I'm always, expecting to be a little bit physically bigger. But this is the story of his life told through myself. And then we have, this is about the goddesses and gods of the Philippines, because before Spain showed up and colonized them, they had their own sort of religion, and it wasn't like their traditional Christian, and it wasn't Christian religion, it was more pagan. Which I wonder what my own grandmother would think about that, she might not have, if Spain hadn't conquered them, then she would not be Catholic. But so it'll be kind of cool to learn. So I'm very excited to read my first book on books on the folklore and the gods and goddesses of the Philippines. It would be really fun to learn, especially because we don't, as I keep saying, I feel like we don't talk about, when people talk about, famous cultures and history, I feel like you don't hear a lot about the Filipino culture in Spanish. So I'm trying to change that. At least starting with myself. And hopefully the more I talk about this, the more I will get people interested. And then she also got me this. The Creatures of the Philippine Lower Mythology. So this is all those mythological creatures that, and it seems like a lot of mythologies in different cultures all have the same types of creatures, just maybe they're slightly different. Because, I mean, in the table of contents, there are going to be sections that are going to refer to witches, demons, dragons, dwarves, elves, ghouls, giants, merfolk, ogres, vampires, werewolves. Yeah, so basically there's a lot of those kinds of mythological creatures are found in all sorts of cultures, just different variations. And actually, I remember in the show Grimm, and they actually had a Filipino creature in the story. And one of the characters was played by a Filipino. One of the police officers that worked for Nick on that show was Filipino. So I remember they brought it up. They talked about a Filipino, creature in that story. So that's my Christmas gifts. I mean, not Christmas, my birthday gifts this year. And now let's talk about what I'm currently reading, and then I'll show you. And I got 2 more books that I treated myself to yesterday. And surprisingly, normally when I go to bed, I only get one book, but I got 2 this time. So, well, let me just show you, since it's just 2 books. I'll go in and show you those. So we have, so it was one of these things. So I'm like, when I go to Barnes & Noble or Books A Million, because I try to stick to a budget, I try to stick to getting just 1 book when I'm there. But then, when my mom came in, she was like, I was telling her I'm still trying to think to the side, and, I kind of said, I wish I could get both, but I know I can pick one. And she just said, why don't you just splurge and get both of them? Because, it was almost the end of the month anyway. So, and I'm also the type of person that I almost feel like I have to make sure, I gotta admit, I'm kind of the person who's like, I'll feel guilty if I get, like, when I go to Barnes & Noble or Books A Million, if I get, like, 2 books, especially when they're both for me, and I almost need, the way it makes me feel less guilty and feel comfortable and better about it is if the person is like, the other person is, just get both. They say it's okay. They say just like ease my guilty feelings and be like, you know what, it's okay if you get more than one book, you know. Okay, so both of these are from Robin Hobb's Realm of the Elderling series. That makes it even better. So because then I got all the books. One of them I got all the books now of the series, and then the other one I just need to get one more book. And it's because it's a trilogy. So the two I end up getting is the fourth volume in the Rainwild Chronicles. This is her Dragon series, and yes, 4 books. There's 4 books in that series. I think it was one of these things, I've always heard that it was one of these things where her publishers told her to separate the last book into 2 books. And it was probably a cash grab. Because, there are a lot of fantasy authors who will just make their 3rd book in a trilogy super long. That they're, Lord of the Rings, like, when it was first being published, he was told to publish it in 3 individual books. But now you can get the 50th anniversary edition of it or something. But yeah, there's a lot of, look at Brandon Sanderson's The Stormlight Archives. Each book is huge. Sarah J. Maas's books get bigger each time. Harry Potter got bigger each time. So I think it was really just a cash grab. I don't think it would be that much of a problem having, 3 books and the last book being super long. Great, I don't know, maybe people, when those books first came out, people complained about the other trilogies, I don't know, but, and then we have, so this is from her The Fitz and the Fool trilogy. So they have 2 trilogies. She has 2 trilogies that are about Fitz and the Fool character that's introduced in the Farseer trilogy. And that's the Tawny Man trilogy, and then this one. And so I'm slowly rebuying those because I used to have mass markets, and I've made it clear that I personally don't love mass markets. I don't think they should get rid of them because, my first thought I got was I don't care about them getting rid of them, because, and also I was being kind of selfish and be like, well, I don't want to, I don't want to have to wait. I didn't care as much, basically, about them. And then, after watching some videos talking about them and reminding me that the fact that they exist is because it's a way to get cheaper. Get the store and get a copy of the book. Buy a copy of the book that's cheap. And it also it's a convenient book to travel with at mass markets. But I personally don't like them. But I think they're a nice, make things easier. And there was a time when I mostly bought mass market books. Because, I didn't have a job. So it's just easy for me to get mass market books. Because they were $10 to buy them, so. But now, and so I don't want people, I don't want people to be inconvenient. If there are some people that need the mass markets because, to be able to buy the books, then then yeah, we probably shouldn't get rid of them. But anyway, so. And I actually want to read beyond her Realm of the Elderlings because it looks like she's also written other books that outside of Realm of the Elderlings series. Let's see, I think it was in this one where I saw that a list of, there's a list of books that are written under a different name on here. Which I'm wondering if Robin Hobbs, she put her on these books, she put the name Robin Hobb because it sounded like a general neutral name. It could be either a boy or a girl's name. Because when you, female authors that write fantasy, unless it's nowadays it's not as bad. Women can, especially if you're writing something with heavy on the romance. It's fantasy, but it's heavy on the romance, then they can get away with that. They don't have to Because romance apparently is only a girl thing. Boys don't like romance. But I know there was a time that a lot of authors would write, when it was a female author, they would either write the initial, middle, and first initial of their name, and then their last name, or they would give themselves a more gender neutral name, like Robin. Because there is another, like I said, there's a whole list of books that are written under the name Megan Lindholm. So I'm guessing that's her, maybe that's her real name, and then Robin Hobb is just her author name. And then there's one that's called The Gypsy, which is written with a male author. And then there's the Soldier's Son trilogy, which I did have that originally, but I kind of lost interest. I never got around to picking them up. I mean, I probably would have enjoyed them, but, maybe what I can do is get those on Kindle. Like, I do want to support physical media, but sometimes it's nice to just, I don't have the space on my shelf, so sometimes it's nice to just get books, the e-reader copies of books. But yeah, in case you're interested, this is, you have, like I said, you have the Farseer trilogy, which a lot of people say either start with the Farseer trilogy, or you can start with the Live Ship Traders trilogy, because the Live Ship Traders trilogy, it's a good starting point because it's completely different characters from all the Farseer books. So you could get away with starting there, even though it's chronologically, it's the second trilogy of books she wrote. But Farseer is the Farseer trilogy, Tawny Man trilogy, and the Fitz and the Fool trilogy are all about Fitz. All the Fitz stories and him growing up and coming into his own. And if you don't know, this is basically a series. Those series are, Fitz is this character. He's a bastard son of one of the king in waiting at the time when the first series starts, and he ends up. He's taken in by the stable master because his father kind of essentially abandoned him and abdicated the throne. And then eventually the king starts noticing Fitz and decides to claim him. And Fitz, and because he's a bastard, he ends up being trained to, not just work for about working for the stables, but also work at the stables, but also he gets trained as an assassin for the king with his mentor, Shade. And it's about him growing up and his struggles and how he has to keep all these secrets from people, and his relationship with the stable master, with Shade, his mentor's relationship with the king's with his father's brothers, his uncles, and his grandfather, and him trying to just be a normal kid, but he can't. Like his relationship with Molly, who becomes his first love, and I probably should not have read that first sentence. Not that it spoils exactly how things happen, but it does kind of spoil a tiny bit. So I'm excited to keep going with this. I've started my reread of the Farseer trilogy, and I've finished up, earlier this year, I finished up the Assassin's Apprentice, so I will be picking up Royal Assassin. I always got confused with the titles, because they all have the word assassin in them. And then this summer, in June or July, I will read the second book in the the Live Ship Trader series. Like, I already started that one last year, but then I kind of got sidetracked and put it down. Okay, so now it's time for an update. So, first of all, I did try, because of, Terry's gifts, I did try to read something she got me for Christmas last year, which is Philippine Folk Tales, translated by Mabel Cook Cole. I started to read these, but it was kind of like my brain was tired, and I was starting to feel that heat. The heat was coming, although right now it's chilly because of the rain last night. So, I cannot, so I couldn't concentrate. I'm tired and it's hot. And of course, the heat makes you even more tired. So it did not go well. So I put it down, and I do mean to pick it up again and try again. The problem is because I don't know Tagalog or any of the languages of the Philippines. It's hard to figure out how to pronounce some of these names. Like, I almost need someone to, like, record someone saying the names so that I can hear them in my head. Let me see if I can remember the one I read. So, one of them was, actually, no, I'm not going to even try because I don't remember it all that well. I'm going to have to reread it. But anyway, now this next book, I can't really talk a lot about because it's part of a series. That is The Wall of Storms, the second by Ken Liu. It's the second one in the Dandelion Dynasty. There's a new villain in town. Someone's trying to take over the empire. And it kind of focuses on the next generation of the one who won the first book. The characters who won the first book. There's a lot of political intrigue. There's people betraying each other. There's war. There's battle. A war between a new group of people versus the current dynasty. And this does refer to something. I finally got to the point where it refers to why it's called the Wall of Storms, like what it's representing. And which, by the way, if you don't like how the Grace of Kings was told, if you struggled with how it was told and you couldn't get past that, and you wanted something different for the story, this story basically is told the same way as the first one is. I personally like it, but it's not. I feel like not everyone's gonna like it. I remember Mike's book reviews talking about it and how he I think it was Mike talked about how he kind of he liked Grace of the Kings, but the way it was told he didn't love. And I remember he talking about how he wanted to get the two main characters, Kunigara and the other guy, I don't remember his name at the moment. He wanted to get to know them and get their story, but all of a sudden the author would jump to a new character. And this one is kind of doing the same thing. I personally like it. I'm cool with it. I'm enjoying it. It's just, I can understand why other people might not like it. And I'm sure, in other words, the books 3 and 4 are probably going to do the same thing. The same kind of structure. And then we have The Mad Wife by Megan Church. So this was one of the ones I got from BJ's. And it actually is one of the books that's on one of the Goodreads reading challenges for spring. And I understand why people take issue with those challenges. It's again another good way for Goodreads to promote books off of Amazon, and they're only promoting certain books, and you might not want to read those books. And they're trying to turn it in, not everyone loves the gamification of rating and Goodreads and everything. But for me personally, I actually kind of like the idea. I think it's kind of fun. And it's not like I'm really super active and pushing myself too hard. It's just, I'll look at what books are on those lists, where you can get some little reward for it. And if I happen to have it, I'll read it. I'm not going to necessarily go buy it unless, I see it at, the Outpost Bookshop where I can get it for cheap. Or at, BJ's Wholesale Club, which is where I got this one. But I think they're kind of fun. It's kind of fun to, see if you can fulfill those challenges on Goodreads and read those books if you're interested. I don't buy books unless I'm excited to read them, or at least interested in reading them. I'm not someone who just buys books because of, and I should say, I'm not, trying to be you're so shallow if you're buying a book because of the cover. I don't mean to, be critical about that. It's just, I personally don't buy books for that reason. I don't just buy them because, I like the cover. Because a lot of times, sometimes I like covers of books that are just not my kind of book anyway. I just like how the author, or the publishers, I should say, decided to design them. Like some of those decorative spines, like art pages. I like those. I think those can be really pretty. And there's other books where, even if it's not my kind of book, sometimes the covers are really pretty and have a really cool aesthetic. But it's not necessarily something, but if it's not something I'm not interested in reading, then I'm not going to buy it. Like, I've looked at these versions of the Bridgerton books, and that are like, have this really nice aesthetic. But I'm not interested in reading the books, I'll just rather watch the show, personally. But anyway, so let's talk about this book. So it's set in the 1950s. Our main character, Lulu, it's her and Henry, and the book starts with, she has a son, Wesley, who's like I think he's toddler age, maybe a little bit older. And then at the start of the book, she ends up finding out that she's pregnant, so she has a baby girl that they call Esther. And she's very frustrated with her life. She does not want to, sometimes she wants to take a break and just rest and doesn't want to deal with her husband and kids all the time. And so one of her neighbors / friend, Nora, gives her this book that the women in this suburbia share, that is all about, creating a schedule and doing certain activities, like doing your laundry, going grocery shopping on certain days. And she talks about how there are times when she doesn't feel like doing those activities on that day. And she's also someone who doesn't mind being by herself. Like, she used to live on a farm and wanted to be a farm girl, and she didn't want to end up like her mom, who was, a stay-at-home mom, just all the time in the house, cooking and cleaning and stuff like that. She didn't want that life. But then she ends up falling in love with Henry in college. They get married, and now she is a housewife, a suburban housewife, and she's not exactly happy about it. And she, but she keeps her mouth shut. She just smiles and keeps her mouth shut. Doesn't complain. Or when she tries to, she realizes, oh, this is not working. I better not get my husband upset. And then, meanwhile, next door to her, someone moves into one of the houses. This woman named Betsy Betzer, and it's her husband. They have 2 boys and 2 girls, I think, or either mostly boys and 1 girl. I do not remember. And right away, there's things about her, the Betsy, that Lulu does not trust, that she doesn't like her. She's a little irritated easily by this woman, and is very frustrated this woman doesn't follow their little book, their little guidelines. And she's very emotional right now and a little irritable, and her husband, one of the things that I found really ridiculous and funny was that her husband assumes that when he talks to her while she's taking a bath, which she hasn't done in a while, she just decides, I want to take a bath. He thinks that the solution problem is, first he thinks that she's upset because she has so much work to do, which is not entirely off kilter. And he thinks the solution is, I'll just buy you a newfangled dishwasher. Like, again, that whole mentality that sounds like men seem to have, where it's, I want to fix the problem. I'm going to fix the problem. That's what they care about, is just fixing the problem so they don't have to deal with it later. They're not thinking about, it's more than just fixing it. You got to understand the problem and the reason why the person has this problem. And then, of course, after he mentioned the dishwasher, and think, we'll get a dishwasher so you won't have as many dishes to clean anymore. He says, by the way, my coworkers we're going to host a party, an office party at our house. And when she tries to protest, he's like, no, I need this. You got to do this for me. I need this promotion. So she keeps her mouth shut and smiles and is like, okay, honey. And another moment that was interesting was, so she finds out from Bitsy that Bitsy has been invited to play spades with the women. And at first, Lulu interprets that as they forgot to invite her. And she's really hurt by this. But then she finds out later that, oh, it's not that they forgot to invite her, it's just that they're going to host it at her house instead. Because both Nora and Lulu's husband Henry are like, oh, you need to get out, you need to socialize. They're always trying to ways to fix so she'll be content. And they don't realize there's more going on, and that she really needs a lot more than just a fix it, like a band-aid put on, her issues. And there's so many great little moments, and you can just feel there's tension there, the awkwardness, and wondering what's going to happen. Is she going crazy? Is she going to go mad? This woman, what's the deal with, Bitsy and everything? Can she trust her? Is she a bad person? And we also get a moment where he gets this new young secretary, and Lulu is a little jealous of this woman and thinking he might be having an affair with this woman. Because she's this new young thing. But yeah, so far I definitely want to keep reading and want to know what's going to happen with these characters, and what's going to happen with Lulu and everything. And is she okay? And of course, it kind of makes me think of that one movie with Florence Pugh that came out a couple years ago, where it's this young couple's trying out living in this new type of suburbia. And it feels like that one was inspired by Stepford Wives, and I feel like this also is kind of a inspiration, or was inspired by. But yeah, this author has written a few more books, like we have on the back. The Last Carolina Girl, and The Girls We Sent Away. So I don't know, maybe I'll check out those as well. So that is my current read right now. I would love to know what you are currently reading at the moment. And I hope you are enjoying whatever you're reading. And I will talk to you all later. All right, bye.